Have you ever felt like you were just stuck, defined by a tough experience, maybe an illness, a loss, or some kind of trauma? Well, what if I told you that you have the power to actually rewrite that story, to turn it from something that hurts into something that makes you stronger?
Dear book lovers, welcome to another insight-packed book summary episode of Summarypedia. We are here to bring you more titles in less time.
In this episode, we're diving into the incredibly practical lessons from The Healing Power of Storytelling by Dr. Annie Brewster. Honestly, this is a must-read for anyone who's ever felt lost in the face of a challenge. It really gives you a roadmap to find your way back to yourself.
Now, to really get why this book is so powerful, we have to start with the author's own story. You see, her journey from being the doctor to becoming the patient, well, that's what makes everything she says so incredibly real.
So, picture this. Dr. Annie Brewster had it all figured out. She's a Stanford and Harvard-educated doctor, a total high achiever. In her mind, her story was simple. If she worked hard enough, she could handle anything. She was the one in control, the one with the answers. And then, bam! In a cold, 10-minute appointment, her entire world gets flipped upside down. The diagnosis was delivered so impersonally, it basically stripped away her identity and turned her into just another medical chart. But you know what? It was in that exact moment of feeling so disconnected that her real life's work actually began.
She realized firsthand how the medical system, in its rush for facts and data, can completely miss the human being at the center of it all. And that's when she became absolutely convinced that the only path to real healing is through reclaiming our own stories.
Okay, but this isn't just some nice, feel-good idea. It's actually backed by some serious science. So let's get into the fascinating research that explains why storytelling is such a powerful tool for healing. We've all heard of PTSD, right? That awful state where a traumatic event just keeps playing on a loop. But have you heard of its opposite? It's called post-traumatic growth. It's this amazing ability to not just recover from something terrible, but to actually use it as fuel for personal growth. And guess what the key is? It's all in the stories we tell ourselves about what happened. The core idea here is something called coherent integration. Basically, it's our ability to take a messy, painful experience and weave it into a story that makes sense and becomes part of who we are. And here's the mind-blowing part. Doing this actually changes our physical health, right down to our DNA. Research shows that people who are good at this have less shortening of their telomeres. Those are the little protective caps on our chromosomes. So a better story can literally lead to a stronger, more resilient body. How wild is that?
So the big question is, how do we actually do this? How do we take the pen back and become the authors of our own healing? Well, the book lays out a really simple but super powerful framework for rewriting our stories. It all starts with just writing your story out. No filter, no judgment. Just get it all down. Then you put on your detective hat and look for 3 specific things. First, moments of agency. Anytime you made a choice, no matter how small. Maybe it was just deciding to get out of bed on a really bad day. Second, you look for moments of communion, which is all about connection. That friend who brought you dinner or the nurse who was just kind. And finally, you search for the redemption, the hidden gift in all the pain. What new perspective did you gain because of what you went through? Once you find these themes, you start weaving them into your story, and you shift it from a tale of being a victim to a story of being a survivor.
The book asks us to pose a really radical question to ourselves. What have I learned from this challenge? Just that simple shift in focus can change everything, moving you from feeling helpless to feeling empowered. This quote from Liz, a young woman who battled an eating disorder, just perfectly captures the power of this process. By rewriting her own story, she was able to go from a place of self-hatred to a place of genuine self-love. It's truly beautiful. So, who is the person guiding us on this journey? What makes Dr. Brewster the perfect person to write this book? Well, her background gives her this incredibly rare and compassionate perspective. See, Dr. Brewster lives in 2 worlds at once. On one hand, she's a Harvard professor and a practicing doctor, so she knows the healthcare system inside and out. But on the other hand, she's been living with MS since 2001, so she knows exactly what it feels like to be a patient. It's this dual perspective as both doctor and patient that makes her work so powerful and so needed. All right, let's wrap this up. If you're going to take away just a few things from this incredible book, here are the absolute essentials to remember. If there's one thing to take away, it's this. You are the author of your life story. You have the power to take all the raw material of your life, the good, the bad, all of it, and shape it into a narrative that truly empowers you. It's not about pretending the pain doesn't exist, but about finding the meaning that lives inside of it.
I want to leave you with this beautiful thought from Michael Bischoff, a man who found unexpected beauty while facing a terminal illness. His story is such a powerful reminder that even in our darkest moments, there is a story of hope waiting to be told. So, the only question left is, are you ready to write yours?
Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the healing power of storytelling. If this summary resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear this message today. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more impactful book summaries from Summarypedia.